Desmond will close off with the final remarks. So, he was the only panel member remaining in this space. So, Hopewell, please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. I have very little to say. I was just shocked that Kudzai Mtisi said my figure of 2,500 women dying every year is not correct. It's not true. That's what he said. But this is a UNFPA figure. The Herald confirmed this figure by saying that the maternal mortality rate is 614. And 614 is calculated this way. Every 614 women die out of every 100,000 women that are carrying babies, that are pregnant, and that give birth. So for the purposes of just enlightening the listeners, Zimbabwe in 2020 had about just over 430,000 live births. That means 430,000 women gave birth. So if you use the 614 UN figure, which the Herald says is correct, it means that 2,000, just below 2,600 women died. So actually my number was lower than the correct number. Then he lied. He said that he never said I'm paid by the United States of America, which again is not correct. I've just tweeted, I've just posted on this space a section where he talked about that, where he says Hopewell Chin'ono is on a propaganda crusade sponsored by Zimbabwe's detractors. If anything, his sponsors are quite impressed by his performance, and they will intensify this crusade as we approach 2023. The idea is to say, as I mentioned in my speech, that as Black Zimbabweans, we cannot tell that we do not have a cancer machine until a white man tells us so. The idea is that as Zimbabweans, we cannot tell that our pregnant women are dying from childbirth until a white man, in this case an American, tells us so. The idea is to say, as Zimbabweans, we cannot tell that we do not have maternity theaters until the Americans tell us that we have to say so, which is actually a very inferior complex, which makes, it's articulating that Black people cannot think for themselves until an American or a white person tells them that this is actually the situation you find yourself in. Go and parrot it in Geneva. Go and parrot it on Twitter. Geneva was actually a smaller crowd compared to the crowd that I have on Twitter. I have 365,400 people following me on Twitter. And I tweet these things every day. So the idea to say that I was unpatriotic suddenly because I spoke in Geneva, when I speak about these things to over 364,000 people every day, it's actually ridiculous. He goes on to lie that I live in Borodale. I actually don't live in Borodale. You know, their arguments are built on lies. But what I want to say to Zimbabweans is this. You know, when we speak, we are speaking on behalf of people that have no voice. They are not voiceless, but they don't have a voice that can be heard where it really matters. Fadzai Mahere is an advocate of the High Court and Supreme Court of Zimbabwe. She has got medical aid, she can disconnect and she can carry on with her life, and she can work in any country as a lawyer. I am a journalist. I can disconnect and work in any country as a journalist. But the problem that ZANU-PF has with us is that we are able and we continue to expose the propaganda, we continue to expose the looting of public funds. The government itself confirmed that 100 million US dollars worth of gold is smuggled out of the country every month. And we have proved that this gold is primarily smuggled by ZANU PF leaders and their surrogates. Now, a cancer machine costs 2 million US dollars, brand new. 100 million worth of gold being smuggled out would buy 50 cancer machines. Right now, the whole Zimbabwean public health system has got 4 cancer machines that don't work. When they were bought, they were actually, some of them were refurbished, and the buying process itself was corrupt. We've got all these details. We just haven't said them, but we've got all these details. If you look at the figure that was given by the previous president of $15 billion that was looted, and nobody has contested that. Even the Zimbabwean ambassador to Mozambique, the current Zimbabwean ambassador to Mozambique, said it's correct. Now, 15 billion US dollars would buy 7,500 cancer machines. Now, is saying so unpatriotic? I've posted tweets of our sisters who are suffering from cancer. And is saying so unpatriotic to say, don't let these sisters die? People are dying every day by the busloads. We have had radiotherapy therapists, therapists tweeting that indeed the machines are not working, and they've even gone into detail explaining what is not working about the machines. Is saying so unpatriotic? Am I supposed to keep quiet, and is Fadzai Mahere supposed to keep quiet? Because if I got cancer today, me and Fadzai Mahere, we are able to go and seek treatment even outside the country because we can afford it. But do we suddenly become unpatriotic because we are saying that everyone else should be in the same shoes that we are wearing? Everyone else should be able to afford cancer treatment. Every woman who's pregnant should be able to have access to a maternity theater. Every Zimbabwean who needs mental health drugs. Right now, the biggest hospital in Zimbabwe is Salim Gabe Hospital. The psychiatric unit at the biggest hospital does not have risperidone, does not have the oldest drug in use at the moment in psychiatry, which is lithium, does not have Prozac, which is for depression. These are members of our society who are suffering from mental illness disorders. They are locked up in that unit, but there's no medication. It's like prisoners, they've been locked up. And there are many such people in our societies who might end up committing crime, heinous crime, because they have no control of their faculties. They need medication. And is saying so unpatriotic? I just want to say that as I round off, that it's important that as Zimbabweans, we don't just think about ourselves. We think about everyone else around us. The village concept of saying, I will not go to bed on a full stomach when my neighbor in the village is going to bed on an empty stomach. That is Ubuntu. We are being told by ZANU PF to abandon Ubuntu. Don't talk about those who are suffering because it will embarrass the leaders. Speak about it in harsh tones. I personally am not going to do that. I've been threatened. I'm sure you've mentioned it on Twitter. Those that have called me out, I mean, that the video on Twitter alone on my speech has been watched by 105,000 people. The people that have called me out are less than 100 people. So I'm not even going to say I was called out, because I think it's not correct to say I was called out, because the majority of the people agree with me and they understand why I continue saying these things. And I'm coming home. I'm not afraid. I'll not be deterred by being arrested. I'm ready to go to Chikurubi. I'm standing for what I believe in. I believe in a healthcare system that is available to everyone, because it's not just my belief, it is part of the country's constitution, which was voted for by 95% of Zimbabweans. Healthcare is a human right. That is why it was spoken about at a human rights summit. Thank you.
Thank you